Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts HD Dream Drop Distance playthrough. It is time to get on with some of the extras. So there's going to be a grand total of 6 parts of extras. Each one is going to specifically deal with a certain thing, so to speak. So today we are going to be looking at ranking every single dive in the game, because obviously we didn't manage to do that the first time around, so basically we're going to do that today. The way in which I recorded all of the extras was a little bit higgledy-piggledy, so when we progress slightly further into some of the later parts, they were recorded before some of these bits, and so it's all a little bit over the place in terms of where we'll be at in terms of Dream Eaters, Keyblades, all that sort of stuff. But I decided that it would be best to effectively merge all of the key things together. So all of the dives are happening together. We will have an entire part dedicated to the delight that is Flick Rush. We'll have an entire part dedicated to the secret portals, an entire part dedicated to the special portals, an entire part dedicated towards a certain secret boss that you can participate in, and then a final extras part dedicated to the report and sort of the final few Dream Eaters. So that's sort of the guide map for the extras. So there's quite a lot here, and definitely I had a lot of footage. So the entirety of the extras, I think it was about 6 hours worth of footage I ended up collecting. Because, yeah, when we get into the special portals, oh boy, there's a lot. But it's all been condensed into nice, digestible chunks, because I think otherwise I would probably drive myself slightly potty, and that just would not be good for anybody. So I will say, this is something that I potentially should have recommended during the main course of the playthrough, is actually going through and trying to get the A ranks on every single dive whilst you're in the game, because achieving that nets you a Keyblade called Dive Wing, which is definitely the best Keyblade that you can get in the main playthrough, well, the sort of the main game, before you start having to do the more complex things like trying to get all of the special portals and so on and so forth. So basically, your best Keyblade that you get is obviously Ultimate Weapon, but you can't get Ultimate Weapon until you beat the secret boss. And if you want to beat the secret boss, you kind of want to give yourself the best possible chance, and to do that you probably want to get Unbound, which you get for completing all of the special portals. But in order to do those, you probably want to get Dive Wing. So that's where we're going. So I'm only covering the dives where I didn't get a gold rank in the main body of the playthrough, and the gist is just sort of to roughly follow what I do in these, and you're probably going to be alright in terms of succeeding. The general principle with the entirety of the dives is try and complete it as quickly as possible and don't get hit. So you can do the sort of diving strike, which will sort of, I think, slightly speed you up, but it's all a case of as long as you don't end up slamming into things, then you should be absolutely okay in terms of making it through in time for a lot of these. It's then just a case of getting your aim on, and it's not too bad to actually deal with. It's just a case of generally knowing where to aim, and also realising some of the dives stop the timer as soon as you complete the goal. Others, you need to get to the goal to stop the timer, so that's a pain. Generally, a lot of your aiming of getting an A rank is down to your time, because that is sort of your multiplier that's going to give you great results. So I suppose probably the best thing I can do right now is sort of just go over your goals and also sort of the rewards you get. So Traverse Town, for Sora, it's rack up 600 prize points before reaching the goal, and you need to get 750,000 points. For Riku, rack up 300 prize points before you reach the goal, and you need to get 420,000 points, so it's easier for Riku. And for getting that A rank, you get a Spark Dive. For La Cité de Cloche, Sora, it's defeat 15 enemies before you reach the goal. For Riku, it's defeat Queen Buzzerfly. Sora's A rank points is a rather excessive 1,200,000. For Riku's, it's only 140,000, and for that you get a water barrel to help level up your Dream Eaters. For the grid, for Sora, it's defeat Brawler Mari. For Riku, it is grab 1 prize point before time runs out. Sora's, you've got to get 100,000 points for the A rank. Riku, you've only got to get 30,000, and you get treasure goggles for that. Praxis Paradise, Sora's, you've got to pop 150 billion before time runs out, and get a total of 730,000. For Riku, it's rack up 700 prize points before you reach the goal, and that is 400,000. For that you get Balloonra. Country of the Musketeers, Sora, rack up 500 prize points before reaching the goal, needing 650,000 points. Riku, defeat Brawler Mari, get 100,000 points, and that gets you 0 Graviga. Symphony of Sorcery is rack up 900 prize points before time runs out, which is what we're doing right now, and you need to get, I believe it's a total of 1,000,000 points. Ridiculous. For Riku, it's defeat 30 enemies before time runs out, and you need 800,000. And that nets you a Fleeting Fantasy to help you make a delightful Dream Eater. And then last but not least, you've got the World That Never Was. For Sora, it is defeat Queen Buzzerfly, netting 140,000 points. For Riku, it's rack up 1,300 prize points before time runs out, and you need to net 1,000,000, and that will net you Meteor, which is a particularly powerful magic attack. I believe that you only get the reward once, so basically, if you're just after the items that you get from the rewards, then yeah, just go in and do it once. But if you want the Keyblade, you're going to have to do it for each of them, because it's getting an A rank in all of Sora's gets you his Dive Wing, all in Riku's gets you his Dive Wing. Also, I have to say, Queen Buzzerfly is a nightmare when you're doing her World That Never Was iteration and you're trying to get the A rank. Oh boy, the amount of times I had to redo this fight, it was ridiculous. Because it's not that it's necessarily difficult, it's just a case of trying to get there and complete the cycle in as short an amount of time as possible. Because I believe that you are basically going to end up doing this in 2 cycles. There's no physical way to... Yeah. Oh no, there is a way to do it in 1 cycle. So yeah, if you actually want to get that A rank, you are going to have to 1 cycle it. And yeah, you, I believe, need to get it in under... It's either 1 minute 10 or 1 minute 20. You do not have that much time to get through that. It's ridiculously tight. So yes, so we have Dive Wing with Sora. As I said, when we start going into the secret portal, special portal stuff, we aren't going to have Dive Wing from the start, but it will pop in there part way through. Same with Riku's iteration, which we will obviously get at the end of this part. Honestly, if I went back and re-recorded these things, then I would do the smart thing of, you know, just do all the dives at once and then worry about everything else. But obviously, when I was recording, I didn't necessarily think about these things. So I just sort of left it all, I suppose. I sort of went like haphazardly into it, trying to thinking I'll be able to make sense out of all of these extras once I'm done, and then severely regretted it because I was just like, oh, why did I make that terrible decision? Because this was just an appalling move. But it has worked out in the end, I feel. Because this sort of all will tie together, and I think is a pretty decent sort of roundup of everything else that the game has to offer. The only thing that I'm not going to show you is perfecting every single one of the Flick Rush battles or every single one of the Dream Eater's ability grids, because it's not happening. Like, I am not that crazy. I mean, you might think I am, but in all seriousness, I'm not. I like to get things complete in numerous situations, but there are certain things that are just too much, and that is certainly one instance of that. And also, you know, I'm just so happy that at this moment in time we're in the run-up to Kingdom Hearts 3, so I want to get to my Kingdom Hearts 3 as quickly as possible, and nothing is going to stop me from being just completely and utterly delighted for all of the wait, I suppose. But yeah, that was one of those instances of going, I'm sorry, what? But yeah, it is that attack that you got to wait for before you can actually, you know, hit him. But I hope. No, can't one cycle him, but definitely going to two cycle him, because generally with the boss fights, that's what you need to do, is destroy them in the fewest amount of cycles that is physically possible. For Queen Butterfly, it is one that you can do with him, but that can be a bit challenging. For Brawler Mari, it's definitely two. Yeah, this fight can take a surprisingly long time. I'd forgotten about that. No, it's one of those things of when you end up recording something and then not seeing the footage for quite a while after you've edited it. It's kind of insane, actually. Because you sort of slightly forget what you recorded, and so you're just like, I'm not quite sure what I did. So sometimes you end up like, yeah, coming back to these things and realising, oh yeah, that did take quite a while. Or you come back and you realise, oh no, that actually went really well. It's kind of nice in a way, because it's that whole thing of it allows you to revisit things that you may not have necessarily remembered or actually noticed. I mean, that whole thing of sometimes I see things in the backgrounds of scenes that I didn't know were there before, because when you're playing the game, you're just really intent on the action and making sure that, you know, you don't die. Those are kind of big things, but then other times you just sort of you just spot little bits and touches. But yes, that is Brawler Mari defeated. And from the looks of things, we only have one dive remaining that I have left to do today. And, oh, there's the Zero Graviga. Nice. So yeah, that was another thing, is that some of Riku's dives and Sora's dives were sort of recorded intermittently, so that was another thing of going, do I do it by world or do I do it by character? In the end I decided to, you know, split these up by character, just because it felt like get Sora's dive wing first and then Riku's, because that made sense in my head as a route to take in terms of the editing. But oh boy, it was a confusing edit, I can tell you that now. Also, there are a number of these dives that I did have to try numerous times to get that coveted gold rank. It did nearly drive me slightly potty. But it is okay, because, I mean, with that, we're done here, which is brilliant. And that is how you A-rank every single dive. Hope you've found that interesting, and I'll see you next time for more gloriousness.